Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm back. And what I wanted to do today is look at this Our Daily Bread. You can get this for free, and I'll put a link in the description as to how you can do it. And if you're not so disciplined or you don't have a plan of reading through your Bible, this is kind of a handy way to do it. They send you these booklets, or you can do it online. It's also online. And what you can do is they go through the Bible in 1 year. We may do that starting in January. But if you follow here I'll show you, down at the bottom, they show you the passages that you would read today in order to get through the whole Bible in 1 year. So Joanne and I were doing this for some long time and got through most of the Bible in a year. Then we were interrupted when she went back to the Philippines for a few months. But anyway, they also have a daily lesson that's not necessarily part of the Through the Bible passages. Today's is called Listen and Learn. It's hard to learn if you can't listen, right? Have you ever met someone who they want to just do nonstop talking? So instead of talking to you, they just talk at you because they know everything, right, in their minds. So even very uninformed opinions are nonstop from them. But what James is telling us is, in the book of James, in this passage, is to try to listen to others as well and to learn something. So they have like a daily kind of story that they tell to illustrate the point they're making. So shall we read the passage first or the story? We'll read the story first. Listen and learn. On one side of the street, a homeowner displays in his yard a giant blow-up bald eagle draped in a U.S. flag. A big truck sits in the driveway. Its side window features a painted flag, and the back bumper is covered with patriotic stickers. Directly across the street in a neighbor's yard are signs that highlight the slogans for current liberal social justice issues in the news. Are the people in these two homes feuding, or are they friends? We might wonder. Is it possible that both families are believers in Jesus? God calls us to live out the words of James 1:19. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. This is a lesson I need. Too often we stubbornly hold on to our opinions, and we aren't willing to consider what others are thinking. Matthew Henry's commentary has this to say: we should be swift to hear reason and truth on all sides, and be slow to speak. And when we do speak, there should be nothing of wrath. Someone has said, learning requires listening. The practical words from God in the book of James can only be accomplished if we are filled with God's loving spirit and choose to respect others. He's willing to help us make changes in our hearts and attitudes. Are we open to listen and learn? I don't really think that I like the author's illustration very much. But I like to separate the political from the spiritual for the most part. Our spiritual life and belief and worldview should inform our political and civic duty, not the other way around. It shouldn't be our politics that dictates our spiritual life. So let's read the passage in James and see what it says. Uh-oh, I lost it already. It's James. Now I have to go back to the proper date. Each of these pages has a date so you know where you are. July, where were we? Wednesday, July 14th. James 1, 19 to 27. Read here from the, I have several versions. This one's the New International Version. My dear brothers, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. For man's anger does not bring about the righteous life that God desires. Therefore, get rid of moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like a man who looks at his face in a mirror. I don't really want to look in the mirror. He looks at his face in the mirror, and after looking at himself, he goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But the man who looks intently into the perfect law which gives freedom, and continues to do this, not forgetting what he has heard, but doing it, he will be blessed in what he does. If anyone considers himself religious, and yet does not keep a tight rein on his tongue, he deceives himself, and his religion is worthless. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. That's difficult these days. There's an awful lot of pollution around, isn't there? And almost all of our pop culture and everything is pollution these days, right? So let's see if we can read some of the Through the Bible in a Year passage. The passages down below are for Psalms 10 through 12 in the Old Testament, and Acts 19, 1 through 20 in the New Testament. I think I'll point this down so you can follow along in what we're reading a little more easily. I think today we will just read the Old Testament portions of Through the Bible in a Year, since we read from James already. We'll read Psalms 10, 11, and 12 if we have time. I don't want to read from Acts because that requires context and beginning at the beginning of that book. But the Psalms can be read anytime, really. So we will read Psalm 10. Why, O Lord, do you stand far off? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? Do you ever feel that way? even David, or the author of this psalm, would feel that way from time to time. Where is God, he would be thinking, when all this bad stuff is happening? In his arrogance, the wicked man hunts down the weak, who are caught in the schemes he devises. He boasts of the cravings of his heart. He blesses the greedy and reviles the Lord. This reminds me of certain looting riots I've seen lately on. In his pride, the wicked does not seek him. In all his thoughts there is no room for God. His ways are prosperous. He is haughty, and your laws are far from him. He sneers at his enemies. He says to himself, "Nothing will shake me. I'll always be happy and never have trouble." His mouth is full of curses and lies and threats. Trouble and evil are under his tongue. He lies in wait near the villages. From ambush he murders the innocent, watching in secret for his victims. He lies in wait like a lion in cover. He lies in wait to catch the helpless. He catches the helpless and drags them off in his net. His victims are crushed and they collapse. They fall under his strength. He says to himself, "God has forgotten." He covers his face and never sees. Arise, Lord, lift up your hand, O God. Do not forget the helpless. Why does the wicked man revile God? Why does he say to himself, "He won't call me to account"? But you, O God, do see trouble and grief, and you consider it to take it in hand. The victim commits himself to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked and evil man. Call him to account for his wickedness, that would not be found out. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations will perish from his land. You hear, O Lord, the desire of the afflicted. You encourage them, and you listen to their cry, defending the fatherless and the oppressed, in order that man who is of the earth may terrify no more. There are a lot of evil and wicked men in the world throughout all of history. But the psalmist is saying, it seems as if God is allowing all this evil and not responding in a timely manner. He starts the first part of the psalm with that thought. He's crying out to God. But in the second part, he reminds us and himself that God in his timing will call all of the evil to account. And so he will. Our timing is not always the same as God's timing in this. Let's go on to Psalm 11, which was part of today's Through the Bible in 1 Year. In the Lord I take refuge. How then can you say to me, "Flee like a bird to your mountain"? For look, the wicked bend their bows. They set their arrows against the strings to shoot from the shadows at the upright in heart. When the foundations are being destroyed, what can the righteous do? The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord is on his heavenly throne. He observes the sons of men, and his eyes examine them. The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked and those who love violence, his soul hates. On the wicked he will rain fiery coals and burning sulfur. A scorching wind will be their lot. For the Lord is righteous. He loves justice. Upright men will see his face. And then we have one more psalm for today's reading. Psalm 12, and that would be it. Help, Lord, for the godly are no more. The faithful have vanished from among men. Everyone lies to his neighbor, and their flattering lips speak with deception. May the Lord cut off flattering lips and every boastful tongue that says we will triumph with our tongue and with our own lips. We own our lips. Who is our master? They're asking sarcastically, those who are deceitful against others. Because of the oppression of the weak and the groaning of the needy, I will now arise, says the Lord. I will protect them from those who malign them. And the words of the Lord are flawless, like silver refined in a furnace of clay, purified 7 times. O Lord, you will keep us safe and protect us from such people forever. The wicked freely strut about when what is vile is honored among men. Well, that last verse hits home as far as today's world. What is vile is honored among men. Never has that been more true than what we see today. And so we seek God's face so that we don't lose heart and become discouraged at what is going on around us in our culture. All right, everyone, that would be it for today. Don't ASMR and drive. And I won't be able right now to do this every day, but we will return from time to time. But I will link in the description or in the comments below how you can get this Our Daily Bread shipped to you. It's 3 months at a time for free, or you can go to their online website and go through the passages there. And so, yeah, and I will put links in the description to online Bible and such too, in case you just want to do it that way. And of course, we will return with topical theology explorations too, like the nature of the Trinity, what is the truth about Genesis and creation, what are the various views, all those different kinds of controversial topics we'll explore in the future as well. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. God bless you.